Now watch it. I mean, his knee is caught up under him, Dan. That foot's under there.
Foul going on Brooks, who flops to the deck.
You can't fault the Laurence Olivier, the Oscars.
We've seen it a bunch in this league with him. This has been brewing for years with me, with other guys in the league, and this isn't new. It's just dumb.
Brooks got there late with the swipe, and he clubbed him on the side of the head. So a flagrant 2, Brooks is done.
The NBA has always come with villainous players disliked by many. Whether it be Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys, the Pacers legend Reggie Miller, or even LeBron James in his Miami Heat days. But in today's NBA, Dillon Brooks from the Memphis Grizzlies may just be the most hated player right now, especially by other players. Some players are hated for playing dirty, and others are hated for their excessive trash talk, while Dillon Brooks is hated for a combination of these reasons and more. Although he is a tenacious competitor that the Grizzlies love on their team, he's built up a reputation of repulsive acts on the basketball court that has given him a lot of negative spotlight in the NBA. So today, we'll be going over the arc of Dillon Brooks and a timeline of how his current reputation was built. But to understand how Dillon's reputation came to be, we have to rewind the clock. Dillon Brooks was born on the 22nd of January 1996 in Mississauga, Ontario in Canada, which is also where he played most of his basketball as a kid. After proving to be an elite player for his age, he moved to Finlay Prep in Nevada to take basketball more seriously. He had a successful high school career that gave him recognition, and later joined the Oregon Ducks to play college ball. In his freshman year, he averaged 11.5 points per game and was named to the Pac-12 Conference All-Freshman team. The following year, Brooks helped lead the Ducks to a Pac-12 Conference regular season title and was awarded third-team All-American and first-team All-Pac-12 honors. Although Brooks considered entering the draft after his sophomore season, he decided to stay for his junior year at Oregon, when he recorded an average of a respectable 16.7 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 3.1 assists per game. In his junior season, Brooks became that dude on his team. He led the Oregon Ducks to victory against the at the time undefeated UCLA Bruins with this clutch shot.
Here comes Pritchard. Brooks. Desperation.
His performance in his junior season later solidified his name in the consensus All-American second team. He was also deemed as Conference Player of the Year in the Pac-12. Although this was the season where he was playing his best basketball, he began to also develop himself a reputation of a dirty player because of incidents like these.
His foot was caught underneath him as he fell, so it's obviously going to come up, but then it looked like he had a little bit of extra push forward that might not have been necessary.
He would also flop like you've never seen before. After his impressive third season playing college ball, Brooks concluded that he was ready for the NBA draft in 2017. To NBA scouts, although Dillon was a good player, he wasn't seen as more than a solid defender that could score. He was a 3-star prospect who was expected to go late in the first round or early second round. The Houston Rockets ended up drafting him with the 45th pick, only for Brooks to be quickly traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. Brooks started his NBA career off with a bang, breaking the scoring record for a Canadian in a debut game by scoring 19 points in the Grizzlies season opener. After averaging 11 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 1.6 assists per game in his rookie season, Brooks was surprised when he found out that he was not selected on an all-rookie team after not missing a single game. Dillon stated in an interview that he was upset, but it motivates him to get better. And that it did. After a determined Dillon returned for his sophomore season in the NBA, just a few games into that season, he dropped a career-high 36 points against OKC. However, his plans to prove critics wrong was short-lived when he tore a ligament, aggravating an ongoing injury to his big toe, and could not play for the remainder of the 2018 season. This propelled him to start the 2019 season with a bigger chip on his shoulder and ready to hoop again, now as a starter on the Grizzlies. This is also the year his now point guard teammate, Ja Morant, was drafted onto the squad. In the 2019-2020 season, despite finishing 9th place, the young Grizzlies team surpassed expectations of them. Obviously disappointed, the Grizzlies proved to have a clear goal the next season: make the playoffs. And they did. The following season, the Grizzlies team ended up having an above 500 record for the first time, with their young core going 38-34 for the season. Brooks picked up his game to the next level, finishing the regular season with 16.1 points per game on decent efficiency, as well as playing good defense, solidifying himself as an important piece alongside Ja. Throughout the season, the youngster Dillon Brooks would only occasionally have his back in fourths with opponents, but they were usually just verbal and within the confines of the rules. Anyways, the Grizzlies later entered the play-in tournament against the Golden State Warriors in deciding the 8th seed in the West.
The Grizzlies surprised many and won that game,
which sent Steph and Draymond out of contention for the championship. Despite the Warriors not having Klay, this victory gave Memphis massive confidence going into their first playoff series, and understandably so. In Brooks' NBA playoff debut, he led the Grizzlies to a Game 1 away victory against the Utah Jazz, dropping a game-high 31 points. However, Utah later proved to have too much experience and comfortably closed out the series 4-1. At this point, Brooks' occasional trash-talking battles were overshadowed by the presence of the well-known villain, Grayson Allen, on the Grizzlies roster. The second-year player out of Duke was always notoriously known for his dirty game style. In this preseason game, Allen got 2 flagrant foul calls on him in just 8 seconds.
I mean, this is a really, really poor showing at Summer League for Grayson Allen.
That's ridiculous.
Grayson Allen was a type of player that the Grizzlies and other teams did benefit from having him on their side. Allen played an important role at the time for Memphis on their run to the playoffs, with his ability to get under the skin of his matchup. After their playoff run, Grayson Allen was traded to Milwaukee to begin the following season. With this decision, it was clear that the Grizzlies' front office were confident that they had enough pieces to cover for the departure of Allen. This role seemed like a perfect fit for Brooks, and he later proved to step into this role seamlessly. In the following 2021-22 season, Memphis finally took their game to the next level. They began to build off their playoff run from the season prior and started playing consistent winning basketball. Despite Dillon Brooks having another injury in early stages of the season, for the first time, all 4 young stars, Morant, Brooks, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr., got the chance to play together for a long stretch in the tail end of the season. This stretch proved to build them much-needed synergy and confidence as the playoffs commenced. After the Grizzlies beat the Warriors team in a match in the end of the regular season, Dillon Brooks states in a press conference that he and the Grizzlies plan to keep building this dynasty.
We were able to, create something like this and, keep building this dynasty and this program up.
What a bold comment to make by the young man. In all fairness to the Grizzlies, this was probably one of the brightest young teams we've seen in the NBA in a long time. So it can honestly be understood how their success as a young team turned into confidence. But at what point is it just cockiness? Memphis surpassed all expectations and finished second place that season. They then proceeded to eliminate the Timberwolves in the playoffs in 6 games and celebrated in a cocky way. In the second round of the playoffs, the Grizzlies were matched up with none other than the 3rd seed Golden State Warriors. This matchup had some prior history, dating back to the previous year in the play-in tournament. However, this time, the Warriors were in full force with Klay Thompson back in the lineup, and Jordan Poole taking big leaps. Looking back at it, this was the series that changed the perception of Dillon Brooks for time to come. The series started off physically, as expected. Draymond and Clark got into it in Game 1, which resulted in his ejection. The Grizzlies lost Game 1 to the Dubs. In Game 2, and just minutes into the game, after a Grizzlies 8-0 run, this happened.
Crack the seal. Payton right down the middle. He's fouled hard. And Payton's in pain.
As Payton on the way up for a layup after running full force, Dillon hits him hard over the face. Payton then awkwardly lands on his feet, creating a scary sight of a potential injury. As Brooks got thrown out of the game, Kerr also screamed at Brooks, telling him to get the F out of here. After the game, Steve Kerr emphasized that there is a code that players follow where you never put a guy's season or career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head.
He broke the code. Dillon Brooks broke the code.
Payton unfortunately ended up suffering a fractured elbow, resulting in his absence for the rest of the playoffs. This injury was a massive deal, as Payton just had his breakout season in the NBA, and it looked like he was finally going to have a home in Golden State after continuously moving from team to team. Warrior players shared their disdain for Brooks' actions, and some claimed that it was clearly intentional. At the end of Game 2, the Grizzlies ended up winning the match 106-101, but the Warriors were determined to avenge their fallen man Payton. And they did, as Brooks faced a 1-game suspension. The Warriors won Game 3 easily. When Brooks returned from his suspension for Game 4, the Warriors fans let him know how they felt about him all night.
Memphis shot just 43% the other night. Brooks hearing it from the crowd, and he tosses up an air ball.
The Warriors got the job done in a tight finish in the end. And in Game 5, the Grizzlies retaliated with a blowout in Memphis. Game 6 was back in San Francisco, and Memphis had their backs against the wall big time. With Steph in MVP level form, Brooks was determined to make it tough on him. In the second quarter of Game 6, Steph seemingly fouls Brooks as he goes up for the layup, which Brooks proceeds to push Steph into the ground in frustration.
See Dillon Brooks, first he goes around the neck and then he goes to the back of Curry.
This play was clearly intentional from Brooks and not a basketball play, which Brooks was given a flagrant foul 1 for. Klay Thompson followed up with some big words for Dillon Brooks, letting him know how he felt, resulting in both players getting technicals. Despite Golden State being too good in the end, they closed out the series in 6 games, and in a post-game press conference, Dillon Brooks stated that he will be back and says that the Golden State team was getting old.
You know, we're young and they're getting old, so they know we're coming every single year.
The next season, on the Christmas Day game between the Grizzlies and Warriors, you could sense the fierce rivalry between the teams in the atmosphere all night. With just under 4 minutes of game time and Golden State going up by 14, Klay Thompson hits a shot that leaves Dillon Brooks falling on the floor. He follows up by taunting Brooks and getting in his face seemingly in revenge for his antics in the 2022 playoffs the season prior. Minutes later, Draymond also taunts Brooks. In the post-game interview, in reference to the previous comments made by Dillon Brooks, Klay, when asked about what message he wanted to send to the Grizzlies, replied with, "You can't talk dynasty when you haven't won before."
I don't think people realize how hard that is, the commitment and sacrifice it takes. I mean, you gotta sacrifice your body. And I thought that was premature to talk, to even mention that word.
With continuous questionable antics, Dillon Brooks has clearly not become a favorite among Warriors players and fans. But what about other teams? Well, it should also be noted that Dillon Brooks has also had his fair share of battles with Mike Conley. Conley and Brooks played together at Memphis in Brooks' rookie and sophomore season. Although Conley had good things to say about Brooks, stating that he plays with a lot of passion and you either hate it or love it. Little did Conley know that Dillon the Villain Brooks would not be showing much love back. In Game 3 of the 2021 playoffs between the Jazz and the Grizzlies, you can see Brooks talking a lot of trash to Conley. Then Conley retaliates by knocking down a shot and talks trash back. Just some friendly competition between two ex-teammates, right? Maybe not. In the beginning of the 2022-2023 season, Brooks tauntingly stepped over Conley after both players were scrambling for a loose ball. But that's not it. Just a few weeks later, this time against the Timberwolves in Conley's debut for the team, Brooks aggressively pushes and falls into Conley, who was on the floor. Something tells me they did not get along in their 2 seasons together at Memphis. Other than his feuds with Conley, this 2022-2023 regular season has proved to be the peak of Brooks' villain arc so far, where he seemed to get into a heated exchange almost every time he stepped on the court. Like the game against the Timberwolves this season, when Anthony Edwards was looking to drive towards the basket after using the Rudy Gobert screen, he gets hit in the face by Brooks. Ant-Man took exception to that and got in the face of Brooks in retaliation. After the game, Edwards told Ja Morant's dad to tell Dillon Brooks to stop playing. A few games later, Brooks and Torrey Craig get into an intense trash-talking battle, which Ja then joins in. And who could forget the Shannon Sharpe fight, which was initiated by none other than Dillon the Villain Brooks. After Dillon and Shannon got into it, the trash-talking antics was continued by other Grizzlies players towards Shannon Sharpe, later also involving Ja Morant's dad, T. Morant. Later in a post-game interview, Brooks calls Shannon Sharpe a regular pedestrian and a blogger.
You think it's appropriate for a fan to come and go back and forth with you guys like that?
A regular pedestrian like him? No. He shouldn't have never came back in the game. But it's LA.
Despite the often hostile acts committed by Brooks, opposition players are constantly retaliating against him, seemingly to show their contempt for his constant dirty play. Against the Raptors this season, Brooks plays hard defense on Siakam, but when the ref blows the whistle due to a foul call, Brooks doesn't stop and proceeds to hit Siakam after the whistle. Siakam did not like this, and it seemed like he was just sick of Brooks' shit and just pushes him. Against Chris Middleton and the Bucks, after some aggressive defense by Brooks, he takes the ball out of Middleton's hand. Then you see that Middleton just seems fed up with Brooks and just grabs his leg on the play. Most recently, on February 2nd, 2023, in another game against the Cavs in Cleveland, Brooks drove to the hoop in the third quarter, only to be met at the rim by a Cavs defender, causing him to miss the shot and fall to the floor. When Brooks hit the floor, it appears he intentionally rolled over and threw his arm up, hitting Mitchell right in the balls. This did not sit well with the Cavs star guard, as he aggressively threw the ball back at Brooks. From there, the two men exchanged a shove or two before the mob of bodies came running in. After the Cavs won the game at the final whistle, here's what Mitchell has to say about Dillon Brooks.
It's tough when you can't guard somebody and can't do something with somebody. You got to resort to that, and that's what he's done to a lot of players.
After a near $80,000 fine for the Donovan Mitchell incident, Brooks has almost totaled $300,000 in fines in his career, only as a sixth-year player. Dillon Brooks is a relentless competitor that doesn't back down from anything or anyone, but it would be an understatement to say that he can sometimes go too far. Ever since college, he's consistently shown a tendency to play dirty, talk trash, and act like an all-around asshole. favorite is not a word that comes to mind when you think Dillon Brooks. In fact, he's probably your favorite player's least favorite player. In his first 6 seasons, Brooks has already made many enemies, and since he has shown to be an important piece for Memphis, I'm sure he'll be in the league for many years and continue to build his questionable reputation. Or who knows, maybe he'll become humble one day. But as a realist, there are no signs telling us that Brooks will be changing his villain-like persona anytime soon. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching SportSphere. Please let us know if you enjoy this type of content by giving this video a like. Do you think Dillon Brooks is the most hated player in the league? If not, who is more hated? See you in the next video.